Welcome back to German Chocolate, Life of a Mixed Girl on this special series, Stunt Talk. And as you know, I'm always excited. I don't know why I got to say this all the time, but today, not only do I have another girly on here with me, I have another mixed girly on me. I have Selene Hara Shankle with me. And Selene is half white and half Japanese. So that is so awesome. She is a stunt woman based out of Los Angeles, trains at many facilities. We're going to talk all about that. And we actually met when I went to LA in the summer, and we trained that day at 87 North. That's where Selene does a lot of her training. So I crashed her training. Well, I crashed her professor's training on invite. But let's first of all say hello, Selene.
Hello.
How are you today in Pacific time? I'm back in Eastern time. Just came back
Yeah,
from LA yesterday.
and you've had a whole slew of things on your plate. No,
And
I'm doing quite well today. I
that is
just
nice.
finished a little meeting today about potentially teaching a summer camp for kids at my high school. Um, Potentially middle school kids, actually, teaching
Oh,
them like some stage combat and a little bit of fight choreography. Just that might be happening next summer. We'll see how that goes. But that was my
oh,
day today.
oh, that is so cute. How did that come
Yeah.
about?
Actually, like the pitch is still, we're still working it out, but more so the thing that I was actually like super pleasantly surprised by today was I met um a professional wrestler. Like during my day, her name is Medina Ali. She's the first female Albanian professional wrestler in
Ooh.
Women of Wrestling, and it was just it was such a coincidence to meet her there, and so we just started talking. We got off right away, and we're potentially going to train together now. And so it's
Ah,
just, I don't know, it was just such a really cool moment of like, this community is so small and I love
well,
it.
it's that. And right before we hopped on, we were literally just talking about sometimes you walk in a room, mostly guys in this industry, but sometimes there's women and sometimes, it clicks right away. Sometimes it takes. So it's really cool to see that
Yeah.
this one actually clicked right away.
Yeah. Like immediately. I don't even know how the conversation started. We just kind of sidled up next to each other and there was a vibe.
Oh, yes. I love it. Always loving a good vibe. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this podcast always starts with the origin story. So, origin story means why and how stunts, and you're also not directly from Los Angeles, which
Yeah.
is interesting. So, tell me about why and how stunts when you realized it, and then the decision to move.
Yeah. I think I think my journey is kind of interesting because it's actually quite recent since I started stunts almost exactly a year ago now. So
Happy
it's been
anniversary.
such a short time frame for me. I went to USC for acting, and I was very fortunate to have had a stunt team at USC, which is crazy. I feel like that's not a normal thing that you get to have at a lot of colleges. It was the Trojan stunt team. I joined in my sophomore year. And then junior year, we did like my first really big project where I kind of had that spark of interest, but I was still really locked into acting. So in my senior year, I went to London for the British American Drama Academy and I studied
Ooh.
abroad there for about 3 to 4 months. And there was a stage combat class there. Um, Philip d'Orleans taught the class. And after it finished, he said to me, I really think you should continue doing this.
Oh,
This,
especially from Europe. In Europe, they're like so like they probably talk about it, right? How like
yeah,
difficult it is there with all the specialties and stuff.
yes. And that was a moment. It was a combination of things with the Trojan stunt team, getting to do projects there, and then finishing off my college experience in London with a real close tie and like love for the stage combat class. I came back and I had a couple months immediately out of college where I was like, I feel so lost. I I don't really know what I'm doing. I feel pulled so many different ways because I have so many like skill sets. And then my good friend Andre Walker, who is also the president of the Trojan stunt team at the time, invited me to a firearms workshop with Jin Lo and Mike Kiley. Uh, Mike Kiley and I bonded. Like there was just something after that workshop where he was saying things about how he got started and how he thought it was a good idea to learn wire rigging,
Hmm.
just in that sense of make yourself valuable, make your understand all the different elements aside from just the stunt work. So he said he worked at Action Planet, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go to one class at Action Planet. And Mike like graciously took me under his wing. We started like training together, and then October 2024 comes along, and I go to my first jam workshop at Joining All
Hmm.
Movement, and it was for stunt work with special guest Jeremy Marinas. And after the workshop, I remember both Mike and I went to Jeremy and we said, "Hey, what does your routine look like? What are you doing on your day to day as a stuntman?" And he very graciously like gave us a list of
Yeah,
things to
great
train.
question.
Yeah, and then we just committed to that list. And if I'm going to be completely honest, I still didn't know what I really wanted to do at the time. I just kind of found a path and started following it. And, then jam happened, started training regularly. Myself and Mike created Tuesday jam nights where we would just rep the basics. 15 minutes of stretching, 45 to 50 minutes of rolls and basic falls, 45 minutes of dynamic recs, 45 minutes of choreo, and just really committed to those Tuesday
Well, quick
nights.
question on there. So you went to do that and you were doing it, and both of you already felt really comfortable in your techniques, I assume, because been doing it so long, or did you still have somebody kind of looking at your techniques, tweaking it, or did you look out
Oh,
for each other?
yes. Going to jam, always people were stepping in and being like, hey, here's a little tip, here's a little tweak. We were always like giving notes to each other, especially for me, because that was my square one. I had no martial arts background, no stunts experience prior to that, aside from like some small fight choreography at TST. And then, everything kind of snowballed from there. I took initiative to start taking martial arts classes. I started making friends. I got my first gig. And
So
I
what
think,
martial arts class did you end up taking as your first martial art?
yeah, so I started at Alonzo's Martial Arts Academy. With Paul McCarthy and Richard Alonzo, we trained Kali, we trained Hapkido, and we trained Muay Thai.
Oh,
And
nice.
then I started going further into Muay Thai at the Thai Boxing Institute. And from there, I was very graciously taken under the wing of Justin Noviello. I was invited to one of his classes. And then, I attribute his class, honestly, to part of the reason why I progressed so quickly. He gets you on all the fundamentals. He really drills you and makes sure that your form and your technique is spot on.
Oh, that is amazing because that is a lot of times difficult for me. I can see it and I can understand, oh, this needs to happen. So I could like tell someone else. But sometimes I do it and I might not realize, oh, I was using the wrong foot first or my
Yeah,
hand wasn't in the right place. So I keep doing it and something keeps feeling wrong, but not really having the opportunity to get it fixed. That's where I feel a lot of frustration. So that's really good
yeah.
that you really had that at the
Yeah,
beginning.
it'll be a note too, as small as if you're doing a roundhouse kick, it's not just like if this is your leg. It's not just this, right?
Yep.
It's pulling your hip, opening up your hip and pulling that thigh back, and then letting that be where the kick extends from. And it's just notes like that and that level of conditioning. Like we train in an 80-degree room.
I
And
know what that's like. We're in Florida and it's always like a
yeah,
garage. So it's like we're just dripping wet before
yeah.
we even get
Our
started.
warm up is 50 lunges. What's the word? When you, oh my God, chambering kicks, front kicks, side kicks, roundhouses, hook kicks. That's like the warm up.
That's
And
what
then
we
you
do for
really get
warm ups at
into it.
ours too. Yeah, we do
Yeah.
like a run and then we do like conditioning stuff too. And then yeah, the
Yeah.
kicks and punches and the rolls like at ours at
Yeah.
K75, right where I
Yeah. So
train here.
that's kind of where I really felt how athletic this gets and how conditioned you need to train your body to
Well,
and
so
really
how did you
listen to
feel at
your
the beginning
body.
of that then? So you started that and I'm sure it was kind of full force and then
I
you're just like,
was sore. I was so, and I felt so out of place. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I was flying by the seat of my pants. But and another thing too that for anyone just starting out, I would say leave your ego at the door. Leave your ego at the door. Because if you come in and starting from any point of experience and you're not open to like listening and absorbing and going, I know a little, I don't know much.
yeah.
And being able to absorb and train like that, if you can't do that, it's like you'll never really improve because you're always in your own way, always
And that's
thinking,
so true. So that's why it like helps when you're a lot younger. You're already going with the mindset, well, oh gosh, I'm gonna go in. And that's what makes it so difficult as you're going in older. Like I know I don't know, but I go in and like a lot of times I'm so worried. It's like, oh, I should know, or I look, or I know a little bit, and then I'm like, okay,
yeah,
that little bit, you're gonna do it well. And then like my first time in any class, especially group, I it starts overthinking and it short circuits. And literally every single time in the class, I'll just brain fart and it'll
yeah,
be
yeah,
like I know at all what I'm doing, and then I try to
yeah,
explain, and then I'm like I'm making it worse. So
yeah,
it's always so nice to hear that because it can definitely sometimes be misunderstood. I want to learn. I love learning so much, and I know I'm not doing it right. And I'm always like, I just need to know, like, what am I doing wrong so I can learn. And I think my face, I
yeah,
have this like resting bitch face too. So I'm either over smiling and then I look like I'm giddy or whatever. And then, or I'm just like look super serious. And I'm like, no,
yeah,
I'm like legit. I feel like a kid and I just like a 5 year old that wants to learn everything.
yeah.
And that's for me the hardest when I walk into rooms like, oh God, okay, everyone's looking, I look really fit, but I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to get embarrassed. And it's like the
I
worst
know I
feeling
look strong, but I really don't know what I'm doing.
for
Yeah.
real. So it's so
But
nice
I
to
think,
hear
and
that
then
a
also
lot.
kind of like going back to the tail end of your first question, like why stunts became for me, it was exactly that. It was that moment of realizing the more I did stunts, the more I was learning about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I was getting curious about myself and what I was willing to push myself to. And for me specifically, I struggled a lot with perfectionism as a
Mm-hmm.
defense mechanism when I was growing up. So I would always get, yep, I would always get good at a thing because I would like approach a thing and be able to get the hang of it quite quickly.
Oh
I
God,
was
I'm gonna
really like,
like right there where you saying it. That's exactly that. And if you're listening and you feel that way, that literally is the thing. That's how I currently feel. So I'm curious
yeah,
when you go on because you're in that space where the time that you're putting in, you're in the right space to do it. Where I feel so lost a lot of times because then I'm like, all right, I can start something, I get it like quick, and then I
yeah,
feel like I'm improving, and then I'm just stuck on one level and I
yeah, you
feel like I can't
plateau.
get out.
Yeah,
I plateau so hard, and then it takes so much for the motivation. So talk
yeah.
a little about that. How you knew you were getting it, but then you wanted to work through that.
Yeah, so what happened was my relationship with failure changed. Everything else that I was doing as when I was younger, I would get to a certain point and then I would be like, okay, if I strive for greatness in this, I know I'm going to make mistakes and I'm scared of that.
Yeah.
So I would never push. But then when I started doing stunts and starting off with like the basic roll, a break fall, a front flip, all these things, I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. I'm so scared to try. But there was a moment where I was like, but I really want to get this.
Hmm.
I really want to get good at this. And all of a sudden, the idea of failing was no longer as scary. And the moment a mistake was made, I was able to look at it and go, okay, then here's what I need to improve. And then I'll just change that next time. And I don't know why, but something about just stunts and martial arts changed my relationship with my body and with the idea of failing,
That's so
where it
interesting
became,
because it's
yeah,
like some of that when I started stunts, my I guess sensei professor, he also like
yeah,
we
yeah,
don't
yeah,
really have a name for my like Kevin. He did the same. I was like, I'm never gonna do a high fall. I'm not. There's just no way. I'm not gonna hurt myself. And he's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
don't be a you know what? Just let's go do it. One
yeah.
higher,
Just
one
go for
higher.
it.
And then he'll like, all right, we'll just do a steer fall and just easy. Now go up all the way. And I was like, you don't want to
Yeah.
let them down. And then I'm like, oh, this wasn't so bad. So what you said, I realized, even though a lot of times I feel like I don't want to get hurt to the point I can't do it. So a lot of
Hmm.
times that's where that blockages or technique, but like going in and realizing it, that was like the first unlock. And even though I've now been doing Kung Fu for a little over 2 years, that one hasn't
Yeah.
unlocked nearly as much as when I started jujitsu at the beginning of like
Yeah.
in like March, because also when your coach calls you out as you're rolling, use your right hand and put it under the left
Oh,
thigh.
wait, which right
What?
hand?
I
What?
know.
What?
The
Where?
left
What do
hand.
you
What?
mean under?
And
What do you
it
mean
helps with
under?
my auditory processing as a child. So this is like I don't know
Yeah.
what for you happened with the perfectionism, but I'm from Germany, so everything's fast and failure is unacceptable a lot of times, and you're just like you got to get it right or you're dumb, and that's it. And you really hear it all.
Yeah.
It's just dumb. You're dumb. You're never gonna make it. And you want to ask a question. Oh, that's a dumb question. Or you say something wrong.
Yeah.
Everybody laughs. So you're always like, oh gosh, I guess I'm just not gonna ask. And you don't want to do it wrong. You don't want to also your parents, like my mom was a single mom, great, everything great, but like with 3 kids, like, your temper is going to be like,
Yeah.
can you just get it right?
Yeah.
You're the oldest. So
A
that,
lot of those like outside environmental influences that affected the way that your brain
yeah.
processes and the way your brain thinks.
And what
Yeah.
happens when you fail? Like you feel like you're disappointing so hard, not really yourself, but like it feels like this is the biggest letdown. You do it. So if you do it
Yeah.
wrong, so you need to immediately get it right. And like you said, that's not how it works. You can't do something for the first time. Yeah, at the beginning you start small and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I can see improvement, but then you want to get it right and you got to fail in
Yeah.
order to do it. So I'm so grateful
Yeah.
you're sharing that because I feel like a lot of us are in that boat, and then you feel like you're the only one dealing with it, and then you're like, okay, what is it that triggers for some? Because you
Yeah.
get those aha moments, and then you're
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
that's it.
I remember I started training jujitsu. Like Jessa Noviello introduced me to a little bit of jujitsu, and then I started training with Professor Hugh Fitzgerald, when I was first getting the idea of jujitsu, nothing was sticking. Absolutely nothing was sticking. I was like, what is a triangle? And he'll be like, there's a triangle here and a triangle here. And I'm like, I'm not seeing a triangle. Where are you seeing a
You're like
triangle?
triangle, diamond, close, and it's like,
Yes.
okay, wait, which one's the which? At the
Yes.
beginning, you're just
What,
so
wait,
much.
my leg hooks under, my knee hooks up. What are you? And then
Which
it was,
arm goes over?
yeah, yeah, yeah. When I'm trying to get you in, am I pulling on this side or this side? So there was just a lot of like, oh my God, I feel like a klutz. I feel like a klutz and a dead weight in water.
But
And
that's so
then,
motivating because you're saying like from we're gonna get to obviously through this where you're at now and what your ambition is where to be, but to know you started and you were just willing to make these fails. You knew this wasn't right, but you still kept on
yeah,
going. And we're gonna get to this point to see like where you're at and how
yeah,
much improvement you've noticed by really just keep going and finding the right people. It seemed like was really important too.
right people. I would say it's one, find out what your learning style is. Mine is tactile learning. I need to like feel it and to have the technique done on me
Hmm.
in order to truly understand it and to pick it up.
Yeah,
Like
I
if
always say, can
someone,
you do it on me first so I can
yeah,
feel
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. Like if someone just spits words at me, at the end of the day, I'm not really going to understand it.
Yeah.
I'm such a kinesthetic person. I feel things with my body first, and then it gets translated into words. If the body's not feeling it, this is not going to get it. And then people who you surround yourself with, train with the people you want to work with, and train
Yeah.
with people who are safe, who are kind, and who respect you and who understand that idea of we're not in this for ego.
Yeah.
And like I remember the first time I finally got the triangle choke. And it was because my wonderful friend, and I love her like a sister. Her name is Ansa Wu. She said, let me just like do a one-on-one with you and we'll just walk through the technique nice and slow. And she was such a wonderful partner in, okay, your leg goes here, and then, I see what the problem is. You're putting your foot on top of your knee, not underneath the knee, and then you clinch it in. And just really walking through every step and being so patient with me, and then willing to like roll with me through that. That was when, and then I finally got the triangle, and I was like, oh, Eureka!
That's so awesome because last Wednesday that actually came up in my morning class. I a 6 a.m. class. It's usually all guys. And this girl, like a few months ago, when she just started out, she came to the morning class and I hadn't seen her because she then went to the evening classes. But she came in and I was like, okay, now that's cool because I've been
Yeah,
saying I've been rolling with the guys and I feel really confident with their strength. And I know my strength is in my thighs. They don't use their thighs, they use upper
yeah,
body. So I got
yeah,
really worried like, what if I'm going to roll with a girl? Was almost scared because I know it's a totally different way. So when she
yes,
came in, she like had me in that triangle and I like barely like I usually I can weave my way out easy out of the guys. It's like, oh, it's
yeah.
easy. I can always weave my
Because
way
they're
out.
bigger, so they
Yeah.
have more space
More
between their
space. And she
limbs.
just and
Yeah.
I was like, coach,
Nope.
you need to
Out.
come over here. And I asked
Tap.
her, I was like,
Tap.
hey, yeah, I was like, hey, are you okay with me walking through with you on this? I would be so appreciative. And I asked my coach to come over. And I was like, all right,
Yeah.
can you really like walk through? And then I was like, oh, look how she's getting out. I've never seen anybody do this because it's so
Yeah.
different. So sometimes
Yeah.
going to like the women's class, they'll teach you like some specific women's like
Yes.
techniques too. It's like, ah,
Also, that's why I think it's so important not to just train with different like guys and girls, but also different body types. So
mm-hmm,
like Mike Kiley and Ansa Wu, in terms of body type, Mike is like 6'2", strong, tank of a wall. Ansa Wu, Viper. She's small, but she's like a snake with how
mm-hmm.
she moves, so elegant and so slim in her movements and elegant in her movements. So it's like when I'm training with her, I'm also quite strong, I would say, for my size and my height and my weight. So when I'm training with smaller people, I feel sometimes I need to hold back my
That
strength,
exactly.
which
That's how I
which
worry.
which I take as a positive because then I go, okay, I can't brute force my way through anything. My technique has to be golden. My technique
Mm-hmm.
has to be solid. That's how I'm going to treat this training session. When I'm with her, she improves my technique like exponentially because I can't use strength. With Mike, when I'm rolling with him, it's like I can go full out and I can learn how to apply that strength with balance.
Yeah.
Because things like judo, things like jujitsu, it's about finding that it's a relaxed state almost where you feel the push and pull and then you find the right moment to apply that
And that's the
strength.
difference to when you first start. Because when you first start, you're like so fast. That's why now when
Hey, you're
I'm
so
like, I'm not the
spastic.
new person. Someone's having new starts. I was like, oh, I'm rolling with a new
Yeah.
person. And it's like everything's frantic. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
When I feel something, okay, let me hold it. Let me put the pressure and weight on so I can think what my next move is versus
Yeah.
trying to just get into the next and then they roll me over and submit me. And I'm like, ah,
Yeah. And that professor says it all the time. A really good way to get to know someone and how they move, go into clench with them. grab their hand and see how they react. If they tense up and they're really spastic and squirrely, then that's just information for you.
Oh,
But
that's
if
right. He
they
does
relax
say
in,
that all the time. Yeah,
yeah,
he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
just
And
stay
but
relaxed.
if that person relax into it and they move with you, then you're like, okay, then we can speak more of this language and get that synergy when you're working together.
He just has
But
such
it's
a
a really
vibe.
great
He's
way to
like,
like
calm.
calm.
And we'll get to him when we get to that point.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at that point. So you started training at Jam, you got all your martial arts things
Yes, I
done.
went to Alonzo Martial Arts, then Thai Boxing Institute with Justin Noviello stuff, and then in the midst of all this, I truly don't know why, but I was somehow I grabbed the attention of Professor Hugh Fitzgerald and Ansa Wu, and she kind of
Wait, where was
scouted
this
me.
though? What did you hear?
At I this was honestly on Instagram
Oh, this
where I
wasn't like you were at like a training and they just happened to be there. This was like on Instagram. They saw like a video,
yeah, so what happened was in my mind, I think. I actually don't know the full story. My
allegedly.
Yes, on Instagram, I had a presence, but again, I was so new that I didn't think I was in anybody's, scope of vision. But Ansa Wu also trains at Justin Noviello's. And
Mm.
so I think she was scouting me for at least a month or two before I was reached out to. And I think she was testing me. She was rolling with me. She was seeing how I move, how I take notes, how I train, to what level I'm training. And I guess it was a thumbs up from her because that's when I got the Instagram message from Professor. And then much later was invited to train with him. And then everything shot off from
And what
there.
she's referring to, Professor Hugh Fitzgerald, is a grappling instructor at 87
Yes.
North. So that is freaking insane to
Yes.
kind of
And
land
also
on that radar.
writer, has produced and directed stuff. Incredible person
Incredible
overall.
person, incredible. His mind is
His mind,
so
yes.
it spans through like time and space and art and
Yeah.
and like science and all of it, which
It's
makes for
it's
great
truly
conversation.
like surreal and a deep honor and joy to get to train under him.
Yeah,
But it's,
I can't even imagine. But you got to this point. So how many hours each day per week were you
yeah.
training, and when were you working, and what were you doing to afford to be able
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
all those things?
That's the other thing too. I think for especially people in my age range, I'm 24 and fresh out of college, it's really hard to make money. It's really hard to balance finances and what I want to do with my life. So overall, we train 3 days a week at 87 North, about 2 to 3 hours per session. And then I add my supplemental training, like with Jessen, and hopefully I've had to drop a couple stuff because of budgeting, but in that time remaining, I am working my part-time job. I have basically three sources of income: the stunt gigs I can get, my part-time job, and teaching at a high school or doing stage combat and fight choreography for their musicals and plays. So those three things are keeping me afloat, but
So what are
it's
you teaching at the schools usually?
basic like stage
Oh
combat.
yeah. So is that and there are
And
like arts kind of department
yes,
that you
yes.
nice. That's really cool.
And Mary Kildare, my, I would say one of my greatest mentors. She just brought me back to the program asking if I could teach some fight choreography to the kids. And then from that, I started directing the fight choreography for their plays and musicals. So that was like a wonderful wraparound coming back
Oh,
to my
especially
acting
stage comedy,
roots.
acting, and
Yeah,
also again looking at it from a different view. So now you've been training, but when you teach, again, that's what you watch,
yeah,
you train, you teach, kind of in that way. So
yeah.
that is beautiful. So when you say at the other job, is it still the gelateria? Is it?
No, no, no,
Yeah, I was
no,
okay. So
no,
why I say
no.
gelateria is because out of all of
No,
the places when we met, I was like, oh my God, I was at like Santa Monica Pier and I was just
yeah.
walking there and I was craving some ice cream. And then I was this gelateria. She's like, wait a minute, this one? I was like, yeah. She's like, I
Mhm.
work
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. No, but actually, this is also a small nugget of advice that I think is really helpful. If you're gonna get a part-time job, I highly recommend getting it in, and if all your options are minimum wage, get one that's like, for me, I went into food industry so that I can get free meals and save on groceries. So
Smart.
any part-time that you can, you know, apply to and have a chance of getting, get something that fulfills some like spot in your life, whether that be training gear, whether that be groceries and food, sustenance, anything like that. Fill a niche in your life with a part-time job if you're going to have to get one, if
And
you
it's so
can't do what you love
interesting
full
because yours
time.
is so different. Like you said, so you're 24, you came out of college, you knew you wanted to do this. So now you need to be able to support yourself and support your training versus I'm 39, a mom of a 13-year-old. We have a two income household and an
Yeah.
economy that is we can't even without training I can't necessarily afford my life.
Yeah.
If you watch me on Instagram, everything looks very glamorous, but this is just because the one advantage I have being an adult with good credit is that I can have multiple credit cards
Yeah.
and just kind of play the game. And I
Yeah.
had Anthony Nanakorn put on here, and we were talking about investing. And sometimes that means maxing your credit cards in that
Yeah.
sense. Like, I know, like, okay, how far can I go? What do I need? How much I can budget, not with money that I have, how it used to be when I was younger, then you could
Yeah.
only use what's on your checking account. But now, how much of this credit can I use, knowing I'm not going so far that I can't pay it off. So those are
Yeah.
two sides of the coin from where you are and where I am. So this what makes this so interesting. So we're
Yeah.
on this beginning journey for around the same amount of time, two different lives, two different
Yeah.
markets, which is why I really wanted to have you on us. Like I need to hear this story, and I want you to share it because it's
Yeah.
so the opposite, and for a lot of people, really interesting to see these two different ways. So you get all this training, you have
Yeah.
to juggle these jobs to stay afloat, and like you said, to make smart choices. So whatever your job is, that's a really really good tip to see what kind of benefit you can get out of it.
Yeah.
That's really really good. So as you're planning, so now what you're taking and who you're training with, how much
Yes.
money you need. So how do you go by budgeting for the new year? Do you then plan what you take more or less in classes, or do you rather plan how much money do I need to
So,
make?
so what I do is first I build what my ideal schedule looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And then I and then that's where you start prioritizing. So for me, the priority is 87 North and Jessen. Like those are my priorities. Anything else, then I start looking at, okay, how much does that cost? How much does rent cost? How much does gas cost? How much does groceries cost? And then that consolidated figure, um, I need to know how many hours I need to work in order to make that much, put that in the schedule. And then my free spaces are either places I can do recovery, places I can do extra training, or like just leave the space open in case a gig pops up.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I've really had to cut down on a lot of stuff because, like I mentioned, I would go to dance classes, I would go rock climbing, I would do all these supplemental sorts of trainings that are not just martial arts. I would
Mm-hmm.
go to the gym for conditioning and flexibility training, but unfortunately, I've had to really manage that as the year comes to a close. Hopefully next year I can put those things back
But
in.
you're a planner. I'm a planner too. So that's really
Yeah.
interesting. So you want to do that. But we talked about sometimes, you go in and you get some of the basic skills, you get to this level, you might plateau or whatever. So some of these skills, they're just nice to have. You don't need to perfect them. Like the one that really caught my attention when you and I
Yeah.
were talking. And
Yeah.
that was
The
something that
heels
caught my attention.
class.
It is a heels class because in my mind, every time you watch a documentary about stunt women or watch anything where there's a woman, you're like, oh my God, heels. I never wear heels. And they're like,
Yep.
never.
Yep. Yep.
And then when
So
you
the
said that, I was
reason
like, there's a thing like
I
that.
I saw the Playground LA, which is this dance studio. I saw a heels class and I went, "Oh my God, I need to take this." Because one, women are always put in heels in a movie, and two, I've always had weak ankles. So I was like, this is a great way to get my ankle strength up, to learn how to move with grace and fluidity, even in this higher
Mm.
elevated platform. It works your calves, it works your hips, like it works muscles you didn't know you had. And I think any sort of movement, art, or craft outside of martial arts is always a bonus. It's
Well, you
always a
always hear that
plus.
like stunt coordinators or whatever, people are like, oh, it's so much easier to train dancers than like actual fighters because it is a
Yep.
choreo. And I never, whenever I was thinking about heels classes, I was just thinking about America's Next Top Model, how there's always somebody teaching them how to walk. So I like was looking
Yeah.
everywhere. When you said it was a dance class, I actually looked it up. There is one an hour from my house that also does heels dance classes,
Ooh.
but it was not in my budget right now. So it
And
is all
that's ain't that the thing? Ain't that always the
yeah,
thing?
because with the kung fu that's full time, and then the jujitsu, and I had to cut down on some of my going to the stunt class training because that individually was so expensive. So then I'm like, ugh, so I have to go to some
Yeah.
places and just go over some of the basics by myself, and then a few times a month. Which for the next year, I really want to increase again to be able to go to my stunt academy because they do all of the basics and then certain specific stuff. Like this Thursday, I'm finally able to go again. I have to skip
Yeah.
my kung fu class. I usually don't do Tuesdays and Thursdays because I always
Yeah.
go to kung fu, like where I'm at on the level. I'm usually now teaching the beginner classes. So
Wow.
my Sifu was like
Congratulations.
gone. Thanks. And I'm just like, oh my God.
In
He
two
was
years? That's incredible.
well, these are the beginners, and I'm at the last belt of the beginners. So
Yeah.
I'm nowhere like great. I know like what we're supposed to do with it, like again, what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
So my Sifu went out of town, and somebody from the advanced class was supposed to come and teach. And I was like really tired, and I was like, oh, I might have to skip. I was like, no, because somebody else is coming to our class. I'm the highest belt in this class right now, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go. And then this lady that opened up, she's like, hey, so and so had an emergency. You're teaching the class today.
Oh,
And
oh,
I was like, usually I just lead the warm up. Now I was teaching an entire 1 hour class, but the
yeah.
way my seafood really has it structured, they're all in 15-minute increments. And I knew exactly like what goes with what. And it was so good. And then like a brown black belt ended up coming in somewhere during half of the class. And I was like, when you see something on me or any of the others, I'm just going through all of the motions. Please fix us,
Yeah.
whatever you need to fix, please speak up. I'm just leading this class for structure.
Yeah.
But it's so
But also
helpful.
teaching is a great way to improve your own skills because then you really see what you know and what you don't know. Then
It's
you
like so
really
much
see
pressure.
what you understand or not.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
always like, not like this. This is my bad hip right here. So watch me on the other side. That again comes with getting older.
Yes.
No, an old injury, but still, they don't heal as great anymore when you're like in
Sure,
your late
sure.
30s than when you're in your 20s. But that's so it's the same. So you had to cut on some of that, and I now know also for next year, I really want to do that because I know heels not my strong suit, and I know my posture. I'm working on it. It's gotten better, but my
Yeah.
posture is always kind of.
And also that like specifically for that upper back, when it's rounded like this, which is very common with like the phone like
Mm-hmm.
this, it causes that neck tightness. even
Yeah.
that lower back, that one knot in the middle of your shoulder blade, it's all connected.
My
So even,
triceps are always so tight. Like
yeah,
the massages started to not really help that much. And I must say, now going whenever it fits in the budget, they have these like sessions you can go to this like a dry sauna with red light therapy.
yeah,
And I must say that I wouldn't have thought helps a lot with the inflammation and loosening it up. So that's like my newest wellness thing. It's way more expensive to do the massages. So now I can afford like two
yeah,
sessions of that.
yeah.
What do you do for, like you said, some of the wellness and
Here's
recovery?
my big tip for low cost budget.
Drink water.
Cold shower, cold shower. When you do, like, if you can't afford contrast therapy cold plunges, just do your 2, 3 minutes warm hot water, minute to 2 minutes of cold water, rinse and repeat. Like doing that is how I got rid of my soreness. It helps so much to do cold showers. And then I have my foam roller, my lacrosse ball, and I target those areas that are in pain or that are tight. And I just go through everything. I stretch and I roll through as much as I possibly can. And I always keep a can of Tiger Balm on me. Oh, I think your mic has stopped working. Hold for technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I was just wondering. I did see that my mic had turned off, and I was like, "Oh, I guess you can still hear me." So I thought it automatically switched.
Yeah.
So, but can you hear me?
But funny thing, actually, I can read lips, not super well, but because I'm hard of hearing. So I'm very often reading lips. And then when that sort of audio cuts out, it takes me a second because I'm still understanding. And then I'm like, wait, there's no sound.
And it's funny, I'm in this booth right here, and I should have just plugged in my regular voiceover equipment, but I was like, I'm just going to use the same mic I've been using to keep the sound the same. So even though it might not be the same, because I think now it's using my laptop audio, but as long as you can hear me well, that
Sounds
means
good.
okay. I'm glad. But the foam roller, how do you use your it always looks so ridiculous when I use it.
Yeah.
Like for the back and some of the shoulders, I can get it, but especially like the top shoulder and the neck. Like, do you like
Mhm.
roll on the big one like that, or do you like do you hit it
So,
against?
I do the lacrosse ball on it and the
Mm,
massage gun on it.
okay.
But if I only have my foam roller, yeah, I'm doing that really weird arched back position. I also have to be careful because multiple times have I done that and then rolled over my hair and then caught my
Hmm.
hair under under
Yeah.
the foam roller. And then I go back and I'm like, oh, wait, oh no, oh no.
You're not
And I have
alone
to
every time.
slowly roll it out, slowly put my hair up, and then like, okay, we're gonna try this again.
Yeah, never learn. Every time I'm like, I think I should be good, and then
And
it gets
never
caught.
learn. I never learn.
Oh, but that's so like it's so important. I notice some things I get more sore than others, and some I feel like a good sore, and some because I stretch all the time, especially because my day
Yeah,
job, I do work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and it's sitting a lot. It's mostly sitting. I try to get up as much as I can. So I know,
yeah.
especially when I do my 6 a.m. classes, and then I'm like, oh, I feel great. I take that shower, try to take it as cold as I can. In Florida, the water just doesn't get super cold most of the
Doesn't
time.
get
So it's
that cold.
doesn't now that it's winter, I get lucky, hopefully, but I'll try to do that. And then I feel great. I like eat my breakfast, I drink water. And then by like noon, I can feel how this tension, it doesn't feel like a
It
great
tightens
workout.
up
It
again.
tightens. And then I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, and I haven't figured out a best practice for that one yet. I'm still
yeah.
working on that one.
I think for me, I try just to be conscious of how I'm standing. So, like, is my posture aligned? I have flat feet, so is my weight evenly distributed, not just on the inside, but also on the outside of my
Mm.
feet? Just and then also I'll just do a little wiggle. I'll do a
I'm
little
always
wiggle
we're
every
always
now and
like
then. Yeah,
probably
yeah,
while I'm
yeah,
on here too, I'm always
yeah.
like I got
Do a little, just really loosen everything up as much as I can. Because
um
sitting is really the beast of burning. when it
That one
comes to
really
this
is the worst.
tightness.
I am like
Yeah.
so over it. I say every year at my job, I'm like, only until the next Christmas party, then I'm out of here.
Then I'm out of
I
here.
know. They're like, yeah, we know, Jess. We know. They do. That is really sweet. They do believe me. They're always asking how whatever is going that's coming up. And they
Yeah.
know because from the day of the interview at my job was like they knew this is like my career
Hmm.
field. I'm just here to do my
I'm
job
only here until.
only
Yeah.
until, and I tell, it's so funny, I work at a psychology clinic, so the doctor I work
Yeah.
with is a neuropsychologist. He's also army vet like me, and so we're like a connection, but he like knows everything. Always, I'm always like going in, I'm like he knows everything. It's like one day you're gonna have to sign an NDA just to let
Yeah.
you know. One day
Yeah.
you can't say
But
nothing.
it sounds like you're like quite close with your coworkers there.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're like good people to you,
It makes
which
such a difference. Like I can
it
like the
really
work
does.
could be great, but if the people you're working with
Yeah.
aren't great, like even the boss man, he's always like he's so sweet. He's like an older guy. He's always like, how's that hand modeling job going? I don't know why he always thinks I'm hand modeling. I've never done that in my life. And he's always asking me. And then I'm like, oh well, yesterday I rolled down a flight of stairs 5 times. That was fun. He's like,
Yeah.
you're just weird.
They're just weird. No, but that's so true though. Like I feel so fortunate that even at my non-artistic part-time job, I love everyone there. I get along with everyone there. We always have great conversations. The food is great. And I never go there and walk away feeling like I've just drained every ounce of energy I had left. And that's just so crucial when, especially in this time of my life where everything is go,
Yeah.
go, go, go. If I don't have any reserves, I'm going to burn myself out because my schedule, it's crazy. It's like Monday is rest and work day, Tuesday is training and work back to back, Wednesday, training and recovery, Thursday, training and work back to back, Friday. Like there's so much back to back stuff that if work isn't a place of at least a little bit of reprieve and recharge, it's going to be so hard to
That's a
keep
good
that
point because that's
momentum.
exactly what it is. Because we've had a lot of stuff happening at work with like people like quitting new systems. The doctor that I work with was in the hospital for an emergency and then was out for forever.
Yeah.
So like the last 2 months, a lot has happened there and it was really draining. But my training schedule and my all the business side of it that goes in here and traveling, all that still was happening. And then we've just had a string of patients that I've been working with. Like in my job, I test people for like dementia, ADHD,
Yeah.
autism, and all kinds of stuff. So sometimes it's really weird. I get a string of people that come in, they don't really want to be there or they're like faking it. And then it's just they all come in and then they drain you so much because I spent hours
Yeah.
this one person, 1-to-1
Yeah.
hours. And I'm like, I'm passionate about it. It's like, if you really have something, let me figure it out. Let me get it out. The data doesn't lie. And
Yeah.
sometimes they make it so hard on me that at the end of the day, I just want to cry. Sometimes I'm just so exhausted. But then I know I have
Yeah.
to go train because every single time when I feel the worst when I go train, I feel the best after training. So
Afterwards. Yep.
that is never fails. I would never like not go to training when I had a hard day because I'll just go home and like feel miserable and think I'm going
Yeah.
to recharge when I go to training and then I get uplifted.
Yes. I've had so many moments like that where going to my people has always reinvigorated me and restored my spirit.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's why people is such a huge part and it's so important of one of the things you have to prioritize around yourself. Get the right people. Get the right people around you because they will be your guiding light in your most unmotivated, depressed times
Yeah,
in
and when you
doing
go
this.
somewhere and you think, "Oh, this isn't for me," that is a really good point to evaluate. Maybe not that the thing you're trying to do isn't for you. Maybe that's just not the right place. And sometimes if
Yeah.
it's just something short you're doing and you just want to learn something, you can stick it out, do whatever.
Yeah,
But if
yeah,
this is a place like this is where I go, like the guys I train with for jujitsu, they're all like fantastic. They're all like really different and all of them like willing to teach and also like learn stuff. And I could not go sometimes when I was like, oh, there's a lot of new people and they're kind of like aggressive, and I got hurt a few times already. I was like, maybe today I
Yeah,
don't want to go. And I can totally feel the difference when I feel that I don't feel safe versus when I
yeah,
like, okay, these people are there and I feel safe going to
yeah,
training. But yeah, my kung fu people too, it's like,
yeah.
I go and I'm like, every day.
It is a longevity thing too. If you're not training with people you can trust to keep you safe, then and eventually that injury is going to happen and it's going to put you out of work for however many weeks to months. And that's, when your body is your job, you have to be
Exactly.
so careful with it.
And that's what scares me the most about it. I was like, oh man, I like hurt, so I like hurt my toe and it got really blue and thing. And I was like, now I can't step on it. Now I can go to my evening session because I
Yeah.
can't even step on it. And then on my arm, I got twisted too much. And then so, but other than that, like we get hurt all the time. So I don't like, even though for
Yeah.
myself, I like whine a little bit. I was like, but it's like battle scars. I'm always like, okay,
Yeah.
I did
I
some,
always call my bruises my cheetah spots
yeah,
or my jaguar spots.
that is
But
really
the
a
most
good
I
way.
ever should be getting is bruises. Like that's the
Yeah.
most I ever should be getting. If it's anything more, it was either a technique thing or a speed thing or an aggression thing. Someone came at me with an energy that wasn't safe.
Yeah.
Like that's usually what it is.
It's exactly that. So really, really finding that and knowing yourself too. I think sometimes it's a good lesson because it's just like, falling safely. We know how to fall safely. So even if
Yeah.
somebody else does something wrong, I know I can catch myself and
Yeah.
feel safe. So sometimes it is a good lesson when there are people who might either not be experienced or just more aggressive or also had a bad day and then something happens to really trust in yourself, how you deal with that. Um,
Yeah. And I think that's such like a great thing to learn early on so that you yourself can turn around and go to the people who are just starting or who are now, they are now the new ones. You can step into their environments and go, here's how it's supposed to be here, and let me help you safely because I know I can keep myself safe. And especially being so new to the industry and to the world, I always like to go back and train with people who are younger than me or newer or around the same level of experience. I'm never like too good for that. I always,
oh, not at all.
I, yeah, I really like going back and helping these people learn because then that's what people did for me. That's what Mike and Ansa and Perry and Sean and Zach, all these people, that's what they did for me. And
And I
so,
always learn something new technique wise because sometimes people are like, I'll do this. And then they're like, oh, how exactly? Like the same how I like to learn, like, oh, well, how exactly do you do that? And then sometimes I'm like, oh, actually, I don't know. I kind of just go that way. And then I pay more attention on the next class. It's like, oh, actually,
yeah,
okay, I'll have to go over a little bit. I've been just kind of sloppy on that
yeah,
one move or something. So it for me, a lot of times they'll ask me something where I was like, I just kind of do it, but it wasn't all as intentional. I just go from
yes,
one into the other and not like
yeah.
each of the steps. So that's what for me when
Intention and
intention.
confidence in your movement is such a huge part of it. That's like, I think that's part of the level up experience
Yeah.
is when you start moving with intention and moving with confidence
And the
because
confidence
that's,
comes from that because you can not
yes.
fake it well. You can't be like, all right, I'm just gonna go into this next.
Yeah, you're not just like grabbing a knife and doing wild slashes. You're like, I'm going for the jugular. I'm going for that rib. I'm going for that liver shot. And then all of a sudden, you're moving smoother. You're
Mm-hmm.
moving with so much power, and it looks great. And it's another thing, another way of being safe. Just
Yeah.
knowing what you're doing,
Just
knowing what you're
application in
handling.
that sense. Sometimes you learn a move and you're like, okay, but then if you tell me what the application is, it clicks. Like before, I'm
Yes.
like, oh, why? I don't even know why I'm doing this. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
because if you go that way, you actually slicing that way. So this it slices. So that's why the knife goes
Yeah.
that way and not kind of that or that or that. So I'm learning the
Yeah.
saber right now, and there's so many different ways the saber like go for any bunch of reasons. So
Yeah. I think that's also another way of like, oh, that's how it clicks in my head is knowing the application.
yeah.
Yeah. With such a tactile learning style.
So, from where you're at now and where you started at the beginning, do you feel closer to knowing what it is that you want to do? Do you have like a dream and goal isn't necessarily the same thing. So that's why I'm going to say both. Like a dream, like a vision of what you want to do, and like a specific goal that you're going for.
No.
That is great.
I I and I think I said it earlier. Stunts has been it's been many things, but one of the main things it's been for me is a tool to really get curious about myself and to discover myself. And in stunts, there's also these avenues of storytelling, of film and theater, of the emotions that come through in a fight, because violence is one of the strongest languages and choices
Mhm.
you can take. So it's not without reason. And I just feel like I'm discovering that as I go. And the industry is also constantly changing.
Mhm.
So there's also, I think, new paths I can discover along the way as well to really navigate, what do I want to do with myself? What are the stories that I want to tell? I don't quite know because I haven't lived life that long.
But that is
So,
the great part because you're like at that part where you're open for it. And the way most of my life path went, I didn't have it as exact where it seemed a little more linear. Like you're like, I'm in this field, and even though it's not always the same, but you're still in a similar field, a lot of times opportunities would come up and I'm taking opportunities. So this has been really intentional. So I feel like for the first time, I don't feel as much in that flow like where you are, where I used to be in my early 20s than now because the difference feels like, even though it shouldn't, that's why this is a good
mhm,
conversation. You're like, okay, I know what I want and I know when I get there. So I've already
yeah,
accepted there have been detours. So I am so open. It's like, oh, I see this. Okay, that's part of my experience. And I've been taking
yeah.
stunts was a detour for me actually. And then I was like, oh my
Really?
God. Yeah, I was doing voice
Wow.
acting and I went to this
Oh.
voiceover camp in October of 2023 in the mountains of California. Way up in the
Up in the
mountains,
mountains?
up in the way up in the mountains south of California.
All
And
right.
yeah, it was
Fun.
amazing. And I was like, there are so many great voice actors, and I don't even live in LA. And I always thought, cool, I have a
Yeah.
military background, and I want that to be my thing. I want to do video games. I want to
Hmm.
do that. But that alone, I was like, it's not cutting it, especially if I want to do mocap and PCAP. I was like, all right, I'm going to train some martial arts. And then I was like, I should probably do a little bit of stunts. And long story, like, sure, I
Yeah,
had
yeah,
years ago met somebody else that was a stunt coordinator. And I had reached out these years later. I was like, hey, do you
yeah.
happen to teach something? And he was like, I'm opening a stunt gym. And I was like, ah. And then I did that.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah.
the most also a kind but blunt person. And that's exactly what I need.
Yeah.
and and I just like went for it. So that's why over the past like almost 2 years, voice acting has taken a little of a backseat because it's so invigorating. And I didn't
Yeah.
realize that that was something, oh my God, that I could do. And I was such a scaredy cat. And I was like, and I realized I can do these things.
Yeah.
So then it became a goal. And now I'm back to this point where I know I dabbled here and there a little bit. I want to do stunts and I do still
Hmm.
want to do voice acting. And however it will blend together, I am starting to create this free flow again wherever it kind of takes me. I
Yeah. And
feel a
it's all
little,
this blend of all your different experiences and things
yeah,
you just went yes to, things you just
just yes.
went, I'm gonna
But
do this.
sometimes you do so many things and then you can't hone a specific skill. So I had to really make sure, okay, I need some space to make sure I can train enough here. And I need to get back into a lot of the vocal
Yeah.
health kind of things. And I was like, I need to go with one of my coaches and have like a one-on-one session and be like, all right, where am I right now? What do I need to do next? So it feels I'm planning to move to LA, and that puts a little bit of a pressure on there. Yes, I'm so excited. So my goal is June 2027. Whatever happens before, if it happens later, again, this is the flow of life, how I take it. This is
Yeah.
where I'm setting it for intentional purposes that I can put goals. But how am I going to support myself for sure when I get there? Like, I don't know. I can just set myself
Yeah.
up because my bill
Yeah.
and like think the responsibilities I have are really different, like from yours. I have to uproot my family, and we all got to go, and we all got to
Yeah.
be in the right place. So it's so scary because of that. That's why
Yeah.
listening to you following a dream without, well, not following a dream, following a passion that you're doing, seeing where it goes, but you still have goals within that because, as you're saying, these are the things I want to do, where I want to improve. And to do
Yes.
that, I need to make XYZ. So, again, you're being really intentional, but you're not stuck on, I want to do exactly this and with that
Yes.
person and at that
Yeah.
time. And that
Yeah.
is,
Because, like, if we're talking about goals, I have so many goals I'd love to achieve. I'd love to, like, again, go back to all those classes that I had to drop. I would love to be in a play at the Globe, be in a Shakespeare play at the Globe. I would love to be a player on one of Dimension 20's, which is a D&D episodic based campaign TV show. I would love to be on Dimension 20 as a player. Like, I have all these aspirational and artistic goals. But in terms of a dream, I feel like I just have to live more to find that. And this is the cattle or the train of stunts, the passion of stunts is my boat that I'm sailing on.
yep.
And and I know it just feels right. I know that's the correct path for me because it's the one that puts me most in touch with myself. And I
Yeah.
think this part of my journey right now is developing myself, disciplining myself, really building myself up in the company of all these people that make me incredibly happy.
Yeah, that is that. It's so beautiful because you are like saying you are working on yourself, you're learning and discovering yourself. And that's what I'm pretty sure all these other people were also seeing and noticing. They see this, life and light and what you bring in and that curiosity that's in there.
uh,
And I know I
there's
can,
a oh sorry.
no, 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 go ahead.
No, there's a quotation that I have on my Instagram profile. Perfectionism keeps you the same. Mistakes keep you curious. Curiosity helps you grow.
And that's very true. That's very
Yeah.
true. Even like I said, even as I got older, even though I built all these life experiences and I can draw from a lot of them and I feel it really helpful. And yeah, I have to unlearn a lot of things because part of my growing up and my life was I always had to figure things out myself. I always had to figure it out.
Yeah.
So that mindset of I'm gonna figure it out and I have to really let the guard down, that is something that's so difficult, but it's been so good because again, meeting the right people that you feel safe to let a guard down and that will kind of help shape that. It feels so amazing because I get these points now a little less. So I was
Hmm.
finally, as an adult, diagnosed officially with ADHD
Hmm.
because I've been going through a lot of bouts ever since being in this industry, more than in any time where I get really excited and then the depression was like really, really
Yeah.
bad. So that
Yeah.
dopamine lack and like going below that baseline was really rough. So to really fill that up, and I lost the see that's again my ADHD brain, and
The
I lost
train
the
was
train of
lost.
thought. I lost the train, but where was I going? There,
Okay.
building it, going there, finding it. I think I lost it, but something about
Something
real.
about curiosity and ADHD?
Yeah, I am not sure, but I feel like it was about realizing now that it balanced some of that dopamine. I don't get those crashes as much, so that low doesn't go so low. Oh yeah, yeah, got it.
Mm.
That I
Okay,
feel
we're
like
back. We're back.
we're back. That I need a plan B. I never feel like I need a plan B because I know
Mhm.
anything in my life I set my mind to has always worked, and that's one advantage of being older because you go through failures or things
Mhm.
you thought were failures, but they lead you to something else. And you're like, oh, that's why that happened. So my
Yeah.
mind has no
Universe knows
doubt.
what it's doing.
It knows what
Yeah.
it's doing. So in my mind, I know all of that, but I'm in like an impatient mind. So I'm like, and then I'm
Yes.
like, what is the exact thing? What is okay? What's the next thing I need to do?
Yeah.
Sometimes just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing, you know?
That's so amazing you said that because I also recently had like we were talking about end of the year's coming up. I've been having a lot of moments of introspection just by nature of the year ending. One really big moment that I had with myself was I realized I was truly rushing myself. I was trying so hard to catch up
Mm-hmm.
that I wasn't at all allowing myself not just to slow down, but to also appreciate the fact that I have time.
Yeah.
I have time in the sense of I have years to cultivate myself in ways that my peers who are, 28, 30 or older have had 10 to 15 years to cultivate. And I was being around that energy and being in a space where everything was happening so quickly. Like getting to 87 North in 9 months
Yeah.
is mind blowing. But it was also happening at a pace that I was allowing myself to get wrapped up in and
Mm-hmm.
thinking, I need to get better. I need to speed up. I need to go, 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 go. Rather than just giving myself the grace to be patient and to go, instead of looking at, oh, I'm so behind, instead of having that mindset going, look at how much time I have to get better. If I did this in 9 months, imagine what I can do with 5 years under my belt, 10 years under my belt.
Exactly.
And that just for giving myself that grace has been such a relief of, again, I don't need to do these things quickly. I don't need to get to a level of mastery right away. I don't even need to be famous. I don't that's
I mean,
not
I
the
don't know, but no, just
priority.
kidding.
Yeah, yeah. It's just having that moment to go, oh, I'm okay with being not being lazy, but allowing time to pass and allowing it to be slow so that I can really take the time to appreciate and to love and to feel the discipline and the
Mm-hmm.
growth and the journey of it all,
And you got
which
to
I
tell
was
yourself
not
that all
giving
the time.
myself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think not a lot of us do. And like I say, even me being older, I should know, but a lot of times I feel like because I'm older, because everybody it's my age has done it, 10, 15, 20 years. And then, yeah, some people also started with me, and some people have a better background. They're maybe gymnasts. So, of course, some stuff's going to be easy. And it
yeah,
takes, for me, for example, a lot out of, all right, you might not have a lot of these strong backgrounds, and maybe some things over the years kind of went away and it takes a little longer to get. But I feel sometimes there is that pressure. But this year,
yeah,
really, especially those last few months, like I said, now really getting a lot of these things clearer really has helped to realize even if my mind is trying to rush it, I'm not going to get better and it's not going to help. I
yeah,
need to
yeah. It's
trust
not
that
going to
where it is.
magically
Yeah,
happen overnight.
it's not going to magically happen. Just stay doing what you're doing. Keep having fun with it because when you have fun with it, that's also when it opens
Yes.
up, like really putting stress and
Silliness
pressure
and
on.
playfulness
Yeah.
in your learning experience is it heightens it and elevates it so much.
It
Yeah,
really does. I can really tell the difference when I'm training and putting myself under pressure, and then it just nothing really happens. Or when I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go today, see kind of what happens, and then
yeah,
all I want to do is get better. And for me, also, like you said, you're reflecting on the year and also how far you've gotten in that time. We're really similar in a lot of ways because I a lot of times make headway really fast. I like meet
yeah,
the right people at the right time, and then I'm like, whoa, how did I get here? I just started, and then
yeah,
then because I'm there already, it feels like now I need to do more instead of appreciating just whoa,
yeah,
I got this, but now like just keep
yeah.
working on
And it's
that and
that
over.
balance of being
Mm-hmm.
able to go, I'm proud of what I did, and not getting stuck in that and being able to go, I still need to drive forward. Like I
Yeah,
can't just be stagnant in either phases of mindsets.
yeah, you can't be in the past, you can't be too much in the future. The past is like you said, you have certain times. Like I always keep track of everything. I have a spreadsheet for
Yeah,
every month and every year, so I can see over the
yeah,
years how I was, and I can see when I was maybe lazy, or maybe if I see the last few years, oh, this might be where things were just slow somewhere
yeah,
else, or what happens during this time. So I can do that, and then through that, see, okay, what got me where, and where do I want to put my focus on? What do I maybe need to
yeah.
drop to get where I think I want to get to, and then staying in the moment to do the
Yes,
things
presence, presence. Yeah.
present.
Oh, there's a drag queen I love. Her name is Katya. She has this quotation where she says, "If you've got one foot in the past and one foot in the future, you're pissing on today."
Oh, that is so funny. Yes, that basically, it's like right, like somewhere, like
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
Because also, like, the future can change. The
Yeah.
future can change drastically. Like, a year ago, I did not think I would be here.
Well, same,
And
same. I say
then
this all the time. Like I told you, I didn't even know I was going to do Stunts. Every year when I look at my like in review, I was like, oh, this is not where I thought it was going to be.
this is not where I thought I would end up. It's like even the I keep bringing it up, but even the name 87 North,
Yeah.
like a year ago, would have been a far distant dream, maybe 15, 20 years down the line. And now it's here. And I
Well,
think that can be applied to a lot of
and
things.
it can, like, if I think for me, it even goes back to the point I grew up, I was born and raised in Germany.
Yeah.
Hollywood is something you see on TV. Even for people
Yeah.
in America, in Iowa or somewhere, even they feel like that. But I was like a German girl in the brown skin. that
Yeah. Yeah.
like I was like living there, and just like I always loved singing. That was like it. I wanted to entertain, but I would have never thought. So when I first came to the States, that wasn't even anything I thought I could do, because that was something you see on TV. So
Yeah.
when I think about it, I a lot of times think, what do the people think that see my Instagram, that know me from Germany? Like I know
Hmm.
who's like watching my Instagram and who's liking the things, and I'm trying to see myself from that lens, just what it looks like, oh my
Yeah.
God, like what is she doing? Like putting herself on fire, and she's in LA all the time. And some stuff I don't post, like I didn't post that we trained at 87 North, and I don't post
Yeah.
all the people that I meet. So maybe, yeah, a lot of people
Yeah.
don't know some of the things that are going on. But yeah, just when I stepped into 87, just finding this like place and being like, whoa, okay. Then you go inside, you're like, oh my
Oh my
God,
God.
this is, you look at it, and this is 87 North, and then like the like
Yeah.
saying everything you want is on the other side of fear,
The
and you say
neon
everything it is.
sign.
Oh,
Yeah.
it felt so surreal. It's like there are thousands of Sun people that have also so much experience, and maybe also have never set foot, like what am I doing in here? How did I get in this door?
No, I think about that a lot, not in a self-depreciative way, but just in the way of there are so many stunt people who are more skilled and talented
Mm-hmm.
than I. How did I end up here? And I just think about that a lot. Like, what do I bring to the table? And how can I harness that? How can I find confidence in that? And, not abuse that power, but certainly bring it to the forefront. Let me show why I'm here. Let me
Yeah.
prove that. Yeah,
Yeah.
let me be a good and positive pillar as I continue to grow.
So you do feel confident in yourself because you have honed skills, you have proven that people are there. So would you say you do feel confident, or do you still feel somewhat? I mean, we all feel imposter syndrome at times, but do you feel like when you go out and what you feel confident in what you do
I
most of the
used to
time?
really I got so much imposter syndrome starting out, and it's still there. It's still there.
Yeah, that doesn't go
But
away.
lately it has been a little less and a little less and a little less. And I'm not quite sure why. I think a huge portion of it is making peace with the fact that this is going to take me a long time. This is my life. This might be my whole life. And I don't know, there's something comforting in that. In that I
Yeah.
don't I I'm not like in any way saying I'm going to be the best one day. because best is very subjective.
I was
And
going to say that no, you don't
yeah,
need to be the best. That ruins a lot
yeah.
of it. You want to do the thing
But
you want to do.
yeah, but in some ways it's like I like who I'm becoming. I love who I'm becoming. And in that sense, the imposter syndrome is going away because it's like I take pride in who I am. I take pride in how I've approached my work. And if I, it feels counterintuitive to feel imposter syndrome when that is becoming my center. However, it's still there. Like it
And it's a
still
good
pops up.
thing because it makes you feel like you want to work on your skills more. When you kind of just feel like you're already there and you can't give or get more, then that's not a great place to be. But I know, like a lot of times, people are like, "You gotta just be more confident." Because if I know what I'm doing, that's so funny because there are two totally different sides to me. There's a side when
Yeah.
I'm unsure, I like step back and I don't seem super confident because I really do want to learn. I want to do stuff, and that's
Yeah.
okay. That's why sometimes I look like most improved after I do something because I really shed down. I go down to zero. I just want to learn. I don't want
Yeah.
to like overstep, and I might not look confident. But once I know what I'm doing or I've been doing something for a long time, I
Yes.
am very confident. I walk in a room,
Yes.
I stand tall. I'm like, this is what's going to happen. Like when I went to
Yes.
train that class, I've been doing these routines like straight consistently over 2 years. I like, all right, I'm teaching this class. I was not scared at all when that moment came. If they would have
Yeah.
just asked me, I would have been like, oh my God, teaching the class. But I had no choice. So I was locked in. I was like, all right, this is what we're going to do. And it's 6 o'clock. Let's start this
Yeah.
class. So
It's
that's
that
really
thing
two
of
different
I
sides.
know what I know, I know what I don't know, and what I don't know, I am 100% willing and open and wanting to improve and
Yeah,
wanting to learn. I'm always learning new things. I'm
always
always getting
learning.
better at something. Always. It
And
never
that's the fun
stops.
part, really always learning. So,
Yes.
all right. So we're ending the end of the year. We're reflecting. We're low on money because it's Christmas, anyways. So, what is one thing you're hoping or wanting to do for 2026?
um, hmm.
Could
I
be
mean,
anything.
I anything.
Could be
Ooh.
anything.
Ooh.
Oh, I made it harder. I hope you're not
Oh.
a Virgo like me.
I would love to go to Japan. I would love to go to Japan and I would love to train judo there. Um I have his name is Akira Kessler, right? Akira. I want to make sure I get this right. Akira, oops. Yes, Akira Kessler. He came also to train at 87 North and was has months where he's in Japan and he was training with a bunch of stunt crews there and judo people there. And I would really love to take a month to go back to Japan, train judo, train with him, and then also like get back in touch with my roots. I would love
Yeah,
because like I feel like being mixed race, I've always been, not Japanese enough, not American enough.
I hear you.
And
Do you
there
speak
was,
Japanese though? Did
I
you learn
do,
it
I
growing up?
do.
Oh, that's
Yes.
amazing. I need to, okay, one day when you're done
日本語
with that.
話します。
Oh,
Yes, but 日本語話しますよ. But yeah, I went back recently, like last month, to visit my grandmother. And being back there, I was like, wow, I want to spend more time here and just be there in that community and that culture. So I would love to go back for a month next year
okay.
and,
So then for the year
both do
after,
training and personal stuff.
we need you. I need to get you to come with me because my son and I on our list it is
Yeah,
to go to Japan, and we were first going to go next year, but my grandma is super old, so we are going to go to Germany next summer. But
yeah,
it's on our list to also go, and I was like, I want to go with somebody who like knows, and it's just so much more
yeah,
fun than if you go just as a regular tourist. So
yeah.
I'm gonna just say now for in a couple of years I'm gonna kidnap you, take you to Japan.
You'll have to fight me for it. No,
Not
I'd
without
love
a
to go.
camera.
No, I mean like Tokyo's wonderful, but then going to Kyoto and the old city, or Okinawa, or even Hokkaido or Shikoku
Oh yeah,
in
we're
the
all open. We love
countryside.
outside. We love like
Yeah.
outdoors. We love beautiful architecture. Like you wouldn't think he's 13, but I don't know if you ever watched Modern Family, but
I've seen a few episodes.
there's this kid and he's like an old soul. And that's like my son. He's like,
That's
oh,
him.
I'm going to play chess. I'm going to drink tea. He's like, oh, I'm going to go down and make a cup of tea. And he's
Yeah.
like, so it's not like a typical 13-year-old in that way. Like he does play video games and it's goofy and silly.
Yeah.
But it's so
Oh, he'll
funny.
love Kyoto.
Yeah,
He'll
I'm
love
like,
Kyoto. Yeah.
we can't wait for that. I did say I do want to be able to afford one of those like sleeper things. I don't want to sit in coach. I don't want to sit in coach.
Oh, that flight is rough. That flight is rough.
Yeah, I already was like, I'm gonna just boom, and I just
Yep.
want to like lay
I
down.
just want to be able to lay vertically on a
Yeah.
plane.
So that's the big goal. Book something so
Yeah.
big that the three of us can lay down
Yes.
and we can go.
Fingers crossed 2026. I have a
Ah,
feeling 2026 is going to be a good year.
well, in Chinese astrology, it's really interesting. It is supposed to be, if you look back to this year's, the year of the snake, was a lot
Hmm.
of kind
Yeah.
of finding yourself, learning some of the things, putting an
My
end to
birth year
things.
too.
Oh,
Yeah. The year of the snake. Yeah.
yeah.
Which feels so appropriate.
You're shedding, but
I'm
next year,
shedding my skin.
yeah, it's the year of the horse and everything is supposed to come together. And people are like, well, it can't be for everyone. And that's how I like to coin it because you do feel like the vibe a lot of times is the same for most people. But that doesn't mean that in all of the areas, some people it might be financially, some people for love, some people like in their
Yeah.
career, but you kind of as a whole do feel like movement, just like when the strike happened, COVID happened, like
Yeah.
all these years, things come in a flow. And I do feel like after all these years of there was a lot of struggle, yeah, a lot of cool things happened, but there was
Yeah.
a lot of struggle. I do think that 2026
Well,
is great.
this was a hard year.
Yeah.
This was a hard year.
It was this year and
Yeah.
even last year. And stunts really helped me, especially last year, go through a bout of I had lost my agency and I didn't know what was going to happen. They could post strike and
Wow.
yeah, they're like, all right, we can't sustain. And I was like, oh no, I worked so hard for
Yeah.
and then you just back to square one and like not
Hmm.
being in LA. So then when stunts happened, I was able to really put a focus on stuff and that really went hard.
Yeah.
And then like meeting all these great people, like meeting you
Yeah.
and meeting Hugh and like Anthony and like all these people that I'm meeting that are great, ambitious, kind people that are also
Yeah.
have goals and are open to just be like, yeah, we'll hop on a podcast. We'll just, do
Yeah.
this and just have a
Oh, one
conversation.
more thing I'd like to do next year.
Yes.
I love Norse mythology and I love the idea of like a strong Viking woman. And I want to do a fight. I want to do like a fight with a battle axe in full wolf pelt Viking wear. I in the snow. I would love to get something like that done.
We can actually work on that because I
Ooh.
had never done sword fighting or anything, but in the
Yeah,
summer, my coach, my trainer, he had
yeah,
booked a job for us, and I was the right type for it. And he was like, "I think
yeah.
Jess will work on that." And we're supposed to be Valkyrie, so it was three of us women, and so we've been
Oh,
training for like a while for this live performance.
yeah.
And then they didn't sell enough tickets, I guess, and they canceled the show.
Oh no.
So we got like our outfits and we were like, cool. And maybe I'll get some wings. So they were like fairy Valkyrie
Yeah,
kind of. So
yeah,
I got like all the pictures that we took for it. And now I'm like,
yeah.
you said that. I was like, oh, that'll give me so much extra things. So I started a little bit on the sword fighting and I want to be part of this.
We
We
should
totally
put
gotta
this
do
together.
it.
We
Yes,
should absolutely put this together.
we definitely do.
Yeah.
So we're
Because
going to,
that's something I want to bring. That's like in terms of bringing to the table, something I want to bring is like the brutality in women, the ferocity in the female feminine rage, or not even rage, but just like the fight.
well, you
Like,
also have a strong body. And like what you
yes.
were saying, like getting to your body and what you are, like, yeah, I have a great shape that's very feminine, but still my body is very strong. So I always
Yeah.
feel like that's where that like feeling like you need to be strong and you can just do everything yourself because you look strong, you look
Yeah.
tough, you look like
Yeah. I am a wall.
I am a
I'm
wall.
a
So make
tank.
the best.
I'm a baby tank.
I started drinking these like every once in a while when I get a monster. There's one that has like Vikings on it, like a pink one, I
Yeah.
think. And I was like, that's so funny that you say that. Like the past couple of weeks, and like once a week, I like take a walk with my boyfriend, walk to the gas station, and then
Yeah.
I get this monster because I'm like, oh, this Viking woman on here. And that's the only reason I get that stupid monster. It's not the best tasting. So now that this is the third thing now. So first the Valkyrie fight, then this can, and now you're saying it. That has to be
Universe. Universe is sending a sign.
yes. I love it. So we're going to close this out with the same question that everybody always
Ooh,
gets because we all want to know, and sharing is caring. What's
okay.
currently in your stunt bag?
Okay. Here's the list. We'll start with pads. So I always have a back pad, elbow pads, knee pads, hip pads. Um, I'll always have some like weaponry. So collie sticks. I have this beautiful tigerwood Filipino sword that Paul
Ooh.
McCarthy. I got it from him, and it's real tigerwood. So it's you can hit it against steel and it won't break. Um, and then my polypropylene knives. I've got two of those. It doesn't fit in the bag, but I've got a katana in the trunk always, and my bow staff in the car. And then I've got Tiger Balm, bandages, wrap, like tape wrap, charcoal pills. Um, I've got boxing gloves, shin guards, my gi. Sometimes it's in there, sometimes it's being washed. And then something I like to keep in it is those little camping chairs. It fits this big, but I'll just keep it in there just in case I need a seat somewhere and there's
That
no
is so
chairs.
cute. That's so funny. I only have like a chair in my trunk. Like I also have my saber in a trunk and some
Yeah,
extra boots, like stuff that you don't always need in there. So it's so funny because everybody so far always had said, that's in my bag, but this is what's in my trunk. Literally everyone. It makes me smile that I don't feel like
yeah,
I'm just stuffing stuff in my trunk, but it just
yeah,
is what it is. Well, that's
yeah,
hilarious. Small chair. That's so smart.
yeah. And I've got a little if anyone knows Genshin Impact watching this, a
Yeah.
little Zhongli keychain on my bag to know
Oh.
it's mine.
That is so cute. Oh, that's awesome. So this is like one of those big investments, and that's always like so
Yeah.
tricky. Like when you feel like, should you get it, should you not? Thought about the investment of getting a vest,
Like
like a
for
jerk
wire work?
vest. Has that even
Yes,
been something?
I have thought about it, especially because I'm not a average size. So
Hmm.
like a medium small is too small on me. I get dark one time I got a bruise so dark on my inner thigh. I thought it was like the shadow of my thigh. And and I was just like, that looks darker than usual. And then I looked at it and it was just black skin, like mottled purple and green. But and then a large one is either a good fit or a myth fit. So
Yeah.
yes, I have thought about it. I have not done enough wire work to justify the cost.
That's how I feel too. I feel like if something came up, like when I did one that was like a jerk, like they had a vest
Yeah.
and it was fine. But I do hear sometimes it comes up if you have one, blah blah. But I feel like you definitely already have to be so in the picture. They're like, yeah, if you have one, come in and do it. But I do what I
Yeah.
do like about it is they have the girl versions where it cuts out, under your chest and not just a regular
Yes.
guy one. And then it does large, like you say, sometimes the guy one, there'll be like an extra space somewhere when you wear the large one. So
Yeah.
it
Instead
is
of
so
cutting
nice.
right in there. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be so nice to get. But I feel like I would want to try one of those on just because I feel like if it's a girl size, I probably do have to go up way more. And
Up a
sometimes the
size. Yeah.
sizes, like on the internet, it's so tricky. But yeah, yeah,
We
same.
can't get women's clothes right. We simply can't. There's simply no standard.
There really is no standard. From
The
the boobs, even
standardization
boobs,
is
there's like
awful.
front and side boob, and then the arm, and then I have
Yep.
like a long torso, for example, and wide
Yep.
shoulders, but a small waist. So everything's like off.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. But
Oh,
hopefully one day I'll be in a job where I need it.
yeah. Yep. Eventually we'll get there,
Yeah.
inching our way up, working on our skills, making
Yes.
sure we feel confident in the right rooms with the right people,
Yeah.
and just always remembering, as long as we're doing the training, we're on the
Yeah.
right path. And
Yes.
perfection is death of
Yes.
growth.
And if this is a good way to close out, there's a quotation I love. It's if you struggle with the idea of did I do the right thing? Do I regret having done this thing? Did I make the right choice? Don't think about whether you made the right choice. Think about making the choice right. And no matter where you go on your journey, if you make the choice right, the next step and the next part of your path will open to you because you made your peace and you either did the thing of holding on because it's working or letting go because it's not.
That's beautiful. That ties right into not regretting anything. Thinking about, some people are like, oh, I want to please the 6 year old me where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So then you're always looking to that you're never there where you want to be. But I actually heard this really great way to look at it from your 87-year-old self,
Hmm.
like how they're like, wow, you're young, all the things you can do, and you have so much time. Like for me, working with
Yeah.
older people, I realized that a lot. I'm like, oh my God, even I am still so young. I'm just arrived at the point where I'm like, oh, okay, a lot of things make sense. In my 20s, I was
Yeah.
just kind of going through the flow, the motion. Then in my
Yeah.
30s, like, well, now that I'm
You're
inching to my
young.
40s,
You're
so young,
young.
so young.
So
So
young.
so yeah, so
It's
not
like
living like not regretting things. I living a no. That's literally my philosophy. I will never, if I feel the desire to do something, will never not do it after thinking about it, because I
yeah.
never want to feel like what would have happened if I would have done it.
Yes.
If I try it and it turns out to be a dumb idea or it doesn't fit, then I can be like, ah, okay, it wasn't what I thought. But I never want to be
Yeah.
like, oh man, what would have happened? That's not me at all.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
ties really beautifully like into what you were saying. Just go for it, live it, do it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't not saying don't think about it.
Like be
Intentional
rational
again.
about
Yeah, yeah.
it.
And if you're impulsive, like I'm an impulsive person, over the years, it's gotten better too. You can
Hmm.
still be impulsive because that's like the spark, but then
Yeah.
take your time to think about the why and like what you want to do, and don't just drop everything.
Yes. Yes. Don't just uproot your entire life on a whim.
Like, oh, what did you say? All right, hold up. Let me get off this call and book a flight and leave everyone behind. I'll be right there. Oh, that's so beautiful. I am so glad that you came on and that you shared
I'm
your
so glad I
story.
got to talk with you.
Yeah, a
Because
young.
I remember when like I was hesitant to, because I was afraid of like, I don't know what advice I can give. I don't feel like I've had enough experience to be of use or of value on your channel. But this was wonderful. And I hope this is really helpful to people who are just starting out on their journey or who are like in my boat as well in terms of external stimulus and situations. Because
Yeah, I thought that was
it's
beautiful
hard
how
being the
honest you are
newbie.
too. Yeah, it's hard at any stage. If you learn anything between like seeing the both of us where we started around the same time. Well, yeah, like they'll be like what, like April 2 years. Um, and where we are, different location, different age, different backgrounds,
Yeah.
and just and I want to say it that way because what we do seem to have in common is like, one, we do have a drive, we're really passionate, but we're also very optimistic and positive driven. Like
Yeah.
doesn't matter like what comes up, but we like put us like smile on in a good way and just be
Yes.
like, all right, I'm gonna get up, fix my crown, and move forward. So I'm so glad. I really, when I had asked you to come on, and you were hesitant, I totally understood that. But when I read your message, it was just so sweet and thoughtful of where you're like, when you had the realization, like, oh my God, I think this is helpful. And I don't can't speak for, you know, listeners and particularly like who's listening to it, how far they listen into, but even for myself, for you to know, even though like this is again, where's your ego at? I don't have a problem for anybody. If I have a 16-year-old that has a brown belt that's teaching me, I like open up. But your words,
Yeah,
I listen, and a lot of things make totally sense, and some things I had to check myself too. So you saying that you're young or where you're at in your stage, it's everyone's journey and like opinion and values is super, super duper valuable because it's you. And yeah, some people say, oh, I don't really want to share my story because mine is different from others. It's not linear. For me, I love hearing everyone's story because they're so different. And it really shows
yeah,
there is no one way to get there, no one background, no one age, no one location, no
yeah,
one nothing. Like literally, if you want to do it and you put your mind to it, just do it.
yeah. I mean, if it's what you love and you want to do, like, don't get in your own way. Your
Yep.
heart clearly knows what you want, so go for it.
And
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave you with those last beautiful words. So thank you for tuning in to
Oh,
this
thank you.
episode. Thank you for being here on Stunt Talk. I had a nice girl, mixed girl, Stunt Talk, and we'll catch you on the next episode.